Well, hello there to the premier audience in the Greater Triangle area, and if you believe our YouTube comments, the greatest global audience in recreational tennis podcasting history. This is Zach Chakowski returning from a summer trip to Montreal, where they also have public clay tennis courts, joined as always by my co-host, my frequent league captain, and my friend, Dr. Matthew Hanauer.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Ready to get back into it with you, Zach. We haven't done one in a while together.
Yeah.
We've had a couple solos, and now we're ready to get back together.
Well, we've got a great show for everybody today. We are joined by a guy that many of our listeners are going to be familiar with. He's one half of an emerging recreational tennis dynasty here in Durham. He's a parent. He's the defending CHTC Tournament Singles 4-0 champion, as well as the Fayetteville 4-0 doubles champion. He's an all-world doubles partner and all-around swell fella. Welcome to the pod, Stewart Bible.
Very kind of you. Really, really happy to be here with you guys.
Awesome. And Stewart, where are you zooming in from today?
I'm in Nags Head, Outer Banks, North Carolina.
That makes so much more sense with your background. It looks like he's like on a boat beach area. Like it looks like Max's when we did with him. He had like the beach house vibe. You have the beach house vibe going there for sure.
There's a sand dollar for, it's an audio medium, but it is very schoonery in the background.
It looks great.
You may get some of my relatives coming in and out of the frame, coming in and out of the sound, so just ignore it.
If we can get the ocean in the background, that would be pretty cool. Just a soothing noise that makes everyone use
from
the
the
bathroom.
outside. Yeah. Yes, I should be out on the deck right now.
Well, so a thing that happened while I was out last week is we introduced a new segment called Guess That Triangle Tennis Player, and it is back due to popular demand. So let's get into it.
Right on.
Matt, you want to start us
do
off?
The first one? Okay.
You're really putting me on the spot here, guys.
Okay, so I am a power baseliner. I don't like to play against junk. And another special hint, I work at Disney. Who am I?
You
didn't know that last one, Zach, did you?
Well,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that
last one.
And I'm going to add one more hint. This is maybe the most multilingual person in the Triangle tennis community. Because I know 4 languages at least.
This person knows 4?
I think.
Oh, wow.
I think it's 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
It seems like there are a lot of power baseliners in our group and a lot of people who stick back there. I'm going to take a stab here. I don't really know if this is true, but Joaquin seems to be somebody who knows a lot of languages or has that worldly view. I'm going to go with Joaquin.
That's a very good guess.
guess.
That could definitely apply. I think that Joaquin doesn't work at Disney.
Okay.
It's the wrong guess, but a good guess nonetheless.
He takes care of you. He's an emergency room doctor, so if you have some crazy happen to you, he'll take care of you. He's at
actually,
they might need that at Disney.
Yeah, they probably do.
In this heat wave, probably good to play with a doctor when possible. Because I played this morning and I thought I was going to drop. All right, so Matt, reveal time. Stewart, do you have any other guesses? We'll give you one more.
Who works at Disney?
No,
I'm interested to find out the answer.
Sergey. He was
good call. Didn't know Sergey didn't like junk. That's something I didn't know about Sergey.
Oh yeah, I think because he's got such a strong baseline game, and he's a big hitter. I think he likes to exchange kind of the traditional shots more than a lot of drop shots, a lot of junk, a lot of lobs, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Right on.
And you know what? Feel free to fact check us, listeners, if you feel otherwise.
I will talk to Sergey because I overheard him saying that his work was in computer programming, I think, or something along those lines. So I'm interested to see what he does for Disney.
He does cloud infrastructure. He makes sure he helps them save money. So for me, we have these things that you have to turn off your program. Basically, it's called compute. I never turn mine off. It costs our company a ton of money. I don't care. I'm lazy. He makes sure that people like me get in trouble for that kind of stuff. And like Matt, basically turn the off button when you're done, so we don't keep getting charged. So it's a good gig. I found out he worked at Disney because he was at one of our parties, and I have another buddy who works at Disney, and they knew each other. And I was like, "Oh, you guys know each other because you work at Disney, right?" And they looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" And they had no idea that both of them worked there. So they were like on their Slack channels, like looking each other up, and that's how I figured it out. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Small world. All right, keeping it rolling. He's a lefty with a wicked topspin forehand. He gets more blisters and plays through them more than any human being I've ever met. Who is this person?
With the lefty blistering forehand, that automatically had to be either Lefty Mark or the great Parv. And I think I've seen pictures of Parv's blisters on the channel, on the group me, so I'm going to go with Parv on this one.
That is correct.
All right.
1,000 points to the House of Bible. Nicely done. We should do a separate episode on this later, by the way, but the Harry Potter point assigning system is outrageous and would not fly in any competitive setting whatsoever. Moving on, though. Matt, who we got up next?
His serve is often referred to as the musket. He has a mean jumping overhead. Guess that player.
One of my favorite hitting partners. I believe he is from Minnesota originally, via Iowa. Mike Westlander.
That is correct.
Ding, 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 ding. I gotta come up with better ones of these. I think that one might have been too easy. It's such a distinctive, yeah.
No, keep him right at this level, please.
Lastly, but certainly not leastly, her sister regularly plays in the same team. She's a prolific captain and a monster at the net. Stewart, who is this triangle tennis player?
We've got to get this person on the group me, I think. This person is my wife, Laura Lee Bible.
There we go. Yes, indeed.
She got me into captaining.
Oh, wow.
Oh, how'd that happen?
Yeah, she just was spending so much time on her captaining that I felt left out, so I had to get involved.
So is this your first time captaining, Stewart, or have you done it before?
Right.
Oh.
Yep, this summer singles is my first.
Well, we'll save it for later, but I do want to get your thoughts on first time captaining. So we'll put a pin in that for later.
Yeah, right on.
Stay tuned. We will get into first time captaining with Stewart later on in the pod. But before we get to that, Stewart, where are you from originally?
I am from Paducah, Kentucky, which is in western Kentucky, about 2 hours north of Nashville, Tennessee.
And what brought you from Paducah to Durham?
Love brought me here. I dated a girl who was on an internship in Kentucky, and she moved back here after that internship was over, so I followed her. And we continued to date for a couple of years once we were here. And she was friends with this girl named Laura Lee Bible, who later, after we broke up, Laura Lee and I began to date.
Very, very cool. Can we get into the story?
Which story? Of why we were not a good fit, or why Laura Lee and I got together?
Let's go with the happy one. How you got together. Yeah, what's the story?
It's pretty cool. We had hung out plenty at parties and stuff, and she was always with somebody. She was always had a boyfriend. So eventually both of us weren't dating anybody, and we said, we should get together and hang out. At first it was just as friends, but we quickly realized that there was something else going on there. So didn't take long after that.
Very cool. And you had bought the house that y'all are currently in before y'all started dating, right?
It was around the same time.
Yeah. Oh, that must have been kind of exciting and kind of nerve-wracking.
There was a lot going on back then. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like two of the biggest, meeting your partner, buying your home, are like two of the biggest life events there are.
You bought a house single?
I did.
A big flex.
I bought a house that was divided into two. It was divided into an upper level and a lower level, and I had tenants in the upper level to help me pay the mortgage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Oh, that's cool.
I'm so impressed by that because when I was single, it was like money would come in, money would go out. The idea of saving for anything beyond like a fun weekend away was just beyond my single brain comprehension.
What do you do? What's your day job, Stuart?
I deal in numbers and computers and engineering stuff, but mostly I manage a business, so I do a lot of administrative stuff and HR stuff and marketing and sales.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that working with numbers and that kind of stuff helps you with your tennis or informs how you think about stuff outside of work?
If it's helping me, it's not helping me enough. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Stuart?
But you've got an analytical brain, yeah?
I am very left brain. Is that left brain?
I don't
Whatever
know.
that is,
Yeah.
I'm at. Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
I'm hard left way over there on the numbers.
The good news is Max will
Yeah,
fact check us, and
We're
so
good.
listeners can find out in the
Yeah.
next episode. Yeah.
Stuart, I've got a question for you. So we've got a lot of younger, but guys in their early career. It seems you're kind of in that more management director role. Maybe talk about that kind of progression for some of us who are interested in maybe taking that next step to taking that role.
Take risks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, take every risk that comes your way. Find out what you love and what you're good at that way. Yeah.
Give us an example. What's a big risk that you took, and why'd you take it?
2 years after I moved here, 1 year after starting to work for this it was 2-3 people at the time, startup in engineering. They asked me if I wanted to be a co-owner, so I took out a big loan and bought into that company without a whole lot of business acumen, I would say. And then I was the managing, partner in that company, and I was dealing with people that were, 20, 30 years my senior and trying to pretend. So fake it till you make it, take some risks.
That's
what is it
crazy.
feel like to take out a big loan?
Wow. I'm so risk averse. That scares me.
Like, were you excited? Were you nervous? Was it like an oh shit moment? Like, yeah.
I think it was more excitement, believing that nothing could go wrong. Yeah, sort of.
So just unwavering confidence is the key. Okay.
There you go.
That's great.
That's incredible. Looking back on it, knowing what you know now, would you have been more nervous at the time, even though it worked out?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I was more nervous starting my second business than I was jumping in over my head on that first one.
Wow.
Man. What skills that you've learned in starting a business translates to captaining? Because essentially building a business is building a team. That's what captaining is.
Be nice to people. Yeah. Treat them the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
I think keep it fun.
As a podcast that strives to support and promote good dudeliness, that is TTP approved. Is that a fair statement,
Yeah,
Matt?
that's a great statement. That always works.
Stuart, do you have any additional non-tennis hobbies? Chilean architecture, gardening, whatever it may be, pottery.
Growing tomatoes, I think, is about the only hobby I have outside of tennis.
Give us the whole spiel. What's the setup? How many you got? Where can people go to get the Bible tomatoes?
Yeah, the Bible tomatoes are going to be given out on a first-come, first-served basis at a Saturday Palooza in the near future, or multiple Saturday Paloozas, I would imagine. There are going to be hundreds of tomatoes that I cannot eat. And they usually go to my neighbors. This year they're going to my tennis buddies. I got into gardening a long time ago, and this is the first year I gave up on everything else because it's all too hard to grow and to manage. And tomatoes, they just take care of themselves, man. You just hardly have to do anything, and you get all this fruit.
How do you keep the?
Is there
How do you keep the So we have a community garden, Stuart, and every time we would go, we'd have 7 tomatoes, but the bugs would get them every time. How do you get the bugs to not eat your tomatoes?
Yeah, that's a good call. I mix some cayenne pepper or some jalapeno pepper in with some water and spray them pretty regularly with that.
Cool. We'll have to try that.
Are you putting coffee grinds in the soil? That is something that my mom has recommended to me with tomatoes because of the acidity or something. But I don't know if that's actually working or not.
Haven't heard that. I think a key for me has been the raised bed. I think that took care of all kinds of problems with pests and weeds and stuff like that. Allows you to better control the soil a little bit. But no, I do Miracle Grow maybe once or twice during the season, and that's all I do.
Yeah, ours looked like a war zone last year. There were bullet holes everywhere through all the leaves and the tomatoes. Someone had just shot a machine gun through it. There was a war.
We're gonna need somebody to write in with some pro tips on gardening because we got to get you some tomatoes too.
Yeah,
Matt.
we usually get 1 to 2 tomatoes and then 3 strawberries a year. They're the best strawberries I've ever had.
Oh man, I grew beets this year, and they were tiny and they were deformed, and it was enough to have exactly 1.5 beet salads, which are mostly not beets, but it was Gardening is such an amazing hobby because it's like this came from the earth and I put it there. It was worth it. It was worth all the watering, all the hours, all the pruning for that 1.5 little salads. Stewart, it's an inspiration. The tomatoes are growing, sharing them with the community we love. But this isn't the Triangle Tomato Podcast. It's the Triangle Tennis Podcast. So let's get into it. But before we get into the tennis portion of things, we've got a few plugs that we want to do. Stewart, why don't you start us off?
Sure. I'm excited about the upcoming Summer Sizzle at the Cary Tennis Park. Suggest all you 4-0s get out there and compete with me in the 4.0 singles competition. And
do you want to make a prediction?
Oh, in maybe 4-5, maybe at a 4-5 level, I'll make a prediction.
Okay.
Who we got there? We got Spencer competing. I predict that it's going to be 120 degrees and everyone is going to suffer. Let me make that my prediction.
I can see who's on there.
That feels likely to come true to me. Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off. So you're plugging the Summer Sizzle?
Absolutely. I would like to see some more of our East End guys captain some teams. Seems like it's pretty limited right now to Matt and Spencer and Kevin, Michael Young. I feel like there are a few other organizers out there that are just, I don't know what they're waiting for. They need to jump on in.
Yeah.
We got the players for it. Now we just need the captains so we can get the, And I think we've learned from Max Gregson, if you pump up the number of teams in a league, it means more resources, it means more attention. And so it's not just like, hey, great, I get to play more matches. If enough of us do it together, it has a meaningful community impact, which is cool.
And with the numbers growing, it's going to be difficult to keep sustaining all these teams with so few captains. So we're going to definitely need to get some more. So that was a good plug. Thanks, Stewart.
You bet.
Yeah, thanks, Stewart. Matt, what you got? What are we plugging?
We've got Seven Oaks coming up, and that is, I was looking that up, July 25th through the 28th. So that'll be fun. So that's one of our previous hosts, Davis Feltz, runs that, and we had a blast last time. There were lots of drama, fights. I broke a racket. It was a good time. Pizza and beer. I mean, what else could you ask for?
Yeah. And for those of you that haven't listened yet, the Davis episode is one of the most informative from a tennis perspective that I've listened to. There is some really good stuff about techniques they use as coaches, what the role of different types of tennis is in your game development. If you haven't listened yet, please make sure to check out the two Davises episode. Yeah. For me, the thing I want to plug, though, is fall singles in Durham. It's to my knowledge, at least since I started playing, it's the first season that we're doing it. I think a lot of folks have pushed very hard to make this a reality, and now it is, and now we got to do our part and sign up. So I'm excited to be joining a fall singles team. I hope everybody listening who's able to will do the same. And also, like, summer singles is my favorite season, but it's rough, especially those July matches that are coming up. Like, it's going to be hard. You get all of the workout that you get in the summer with none of the, the conditions that are sometimes unfun.
Yeah, and we're gonna need some captains for that, because I am probably gonna play. I'm gonna play probably 3-0 if they let me, or 3-5. So I'm gonna be playing right-handed if they're gonna let me, because I don't think I'll be ready for that. So we're gonna need more captains, and then if any, I'm gonna wait for the official approval, but it should be fine. I'll be looking for some 3-0s and 3-5s to join my singles team.
Matt, can you talk us through that process? You're a lefty. Your left wrist is injured. Now you're playing as a righty. How have you gone about making that a reality from a match perspective?
Oh, I just keep playing. The first couple matches were really rough. My backhand was terrible because I have a one-handed right-handed backhand, and the ball would go backwards. It would go off to the side. But after 4 or 5 matches, I got the slice down, and I know how to do it. And my forehand's not bad. My serve is still pretty rough, but I played 5 matches last week, and by Friday, I was smoking guys at 3-0. I've been winning 1-1, 1-2. No one's gotten more than 3 games off me at 3-0, so we'll see.
A right-handed juggernaut in the making at 3-0 in the triangle. Stewart, how's your left-handed game?
How is that possible? What did you grow up doing something with your right hand?
No. I'm not
ambidextrous at all. How you switched so fast.
Yeah, I just played a lot because I missed playing so much, and I hadn't I just committed. Like I just said, because like once I went back into the brace for a while, I was like, I'm not coming out of this for like, okay, I don't know when it's gonna happen. So I was like, I played 5 matches last week. I'm gonna get 5 more lined up this week, and I'm just gonna keep playing. And I get better every time you play, just like you play left-handed. It's also easier because there's more opportunity to get better. Like my progression over the last 3, I've made more improvement in my game right-handed in the last 3 weeks than I have left-handed in a year because there's more room to grow because you're starting from such a low baseline. So it's fun to see, like I actually can hit the ball with some pace and I can put it where I want now. It's kind of fun.
Are those mental cues about technique? Are you like transitioning the same self-talk from your left hand to your right hand as far as how to hit the slice and where to set up and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Yeah, the strategy is still there. It's different because I'm right-handed now. So sometimes I'll try and go to someone's backhand, so I'll be hitting inside-out forehands, and that's not usually what I do. I'll go to my forehand to your backhand. I come to the net more because people can't pass me as well, so I'll come to the net more. My overhand's not good, but people will miss. But yeah, it translates pretty well. And then I just get the ball back. It's the same as left hand. I just get the ball back 1,000 times. And I got a great compliment the other day. The guy said I was the most annoying player he's ever played. It's like, thank you. I know I'm right.
Matt, is it the first time you've ever gotten that compliment?
It's not the first time. I've had people yell at me for my game. Like, they've gotten mad at me during matches because of my game. So yeah, no, it's great. It's good. It drives me.
For the folks that are unfamiliar, Matt, can you describe your game a little bit, and then Stewart, fact check him?
Oh, I just get the ball back. I just don't quit. I just keep getting it back and back and back. And there's not a ton of pace on it. I'll get it deep usually, and I'll have some spin on it, but it's not hard. In singles, that's the way it is. And yeah, I just have a spinny serve, and I just refuse to quit.
You're leaving out your angles. I think.
Oh, I have good angles?
That's the thing that stood out to me about your game. Yes, excellent angle finder.
Oh, thank you.
I agree with Stewart, Matt. I think you use the full court very well. Like it's if you hit it deep into the corners, of course it's an effective strategy, but you do a great job pulling people in and then pushing them back. And many people are saying you have the best lob in the
I'm
triangle.
saying that. Yeah, I'm saying that.
I want to go toe-to-toe for you in a lob off at some point when you're healthy, because I like to think that I have a very good lob as well. I love old man tennis. I cannot wait to be 74 years old and slicing and dicing these youngsters to death. So we'll have to settle this the old-fashioned way.
I think we'll have to have like a combine of tennis. Like we'll have lobs, we'll have pass, like I don't know, volleys. Stewart would win the volleys one. Overhead.
Sounds awesome.
I think we should do a combine.
We're totally off script on this, but we have to get into that. The East End Boys Tennis Combine. What events should we have? The lob off, obviously. Stewart, what do you think?
Oh yeah, serve speed competition. I want that radar gun out there.
Yeah.
If anybody beats Ryan Seiko, that couldn't even compute. I think, but I want to see people try.
Just to get everyone's gauge.
We're battling for second place.
Exactly, Stewart. Who's the second?
Yeah. I want to see people do. We used to do these drills when I was in the juniors called suicides, where you have to touch each line on one court or 2 courts, or if the coach was like mad at you, sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6 courts. I would like to see the 2-court sprint and who comes out first there. I think I'm putting my money on Jackson for that.
Before Naveen got hurt,
Evan is very fast.
Naveen, before he got hurt. He hurt his ankle. He would have been up there, but yeah, Jackson's fast. The tweener would have to be one event. Yeah.
The Michael Young tweener competition.
Yeah. Set it up on the ball machine to get consistent tweeners. Machine.
Yeah. Maybe we could do this.
I think for folks that are listening, if you want to see an East End tennis combine, please message Matt, Stewart, or myself. And let's see if we can make this a reality, because that would be pretty ridiculous and really fun. Also, that's like the easiest one to set up ever. We just need a bunch of people to show up and say, like, we're doing it from this time to this time. Like, there's not a ton of organizing that goes.
I got cones and a ball machine, so no problem. Yeah.
We got Swing Vision, which is close enough to a radar gun. I think Trung Tran has a radar gun as well.
I'm sure someone does.
I think so. Yeah. We have the internet. We can get one.
We can find one. Great.
Yeah. Stewart,
where were we?
Now that we've come up with this great idea, back to you. When did you start playing tennis?
I started playing tennis when my sister started taking tennis lessons. I think she was maybe 13 and I was 10. Long time ago.
Wow.
And did you play in high school and kind of continue throughout your life, or have you taken any breaks?
I played up until my senior year in high school, and then I dropped it completely. And pretty much didn't pick up a racket. I think I played with a family friend once or twice during my 25 years off.
Whoa.
Picked it up 3 summers ago. 3 summers ago or 2 summers ago? 2 summers ago now.
Wow.
We had
Started
a couple write-in questions for you, and one of which was, how do you play like a 20-year-old? And so my addition to that question now is, do you think the 25-year layoff has just kept you preserved as an 18-year-old, now 20-year-old tennis player?
Sense.
Yeah. Science. Analytics.
It could be. I didn't use up all that energy and muscle mass or whatever frivolous activity all those years. I would turn that question around and ask how all these 20-year-olds are playing as well as a 47-year-old. Like, I got wisdom and all this other stuff that should benefit me as much.
I played, I think, a 19-year-old in a league match the other day who was on the Duke club team, and I have the same questions. Like, yo, you're like, your brain's not done developing. How are you kicking my ass right now? Like, why are you like? That's a particularly frustrating moment for me when you're playing a youngster and they're making better choices on the court than I am. Which, Matt, you make good choices on the court. I make bad choices. That has happened to me several times this year.
I think you make bad choices.
I think these young guys are starting to figure it out that I'm 47. I feel like, and you're included, Zach. I don't like all the moving around, and people are starting to hit more drop shots followed by lobs against me. Jaron lobbed me so well the other day, and it's getting rough.
Oh, that's fun.
Jaron Russell has a smooth game and is also a Kentucky guy, I believe.
Yes, holding it down for Kentucky around here.
Nice.
So, Stewart, you're a good player. We talked in the intro about how you've won a couple tournaments. You've played on a bunch of competitive and strong league teams. What has your process for improving as an adult been so you can beat those 20-year-olds?
I think just reps. I think enjoying the process of the challenge of getting a little better each day, and also like appreciating yourself for doing this thing that is different, puts you out of your comfort zone. You're going to lose a lot. What is it? You lose like 51% of the points you play or something, or 49 and you're doing well.
Yeah.
It's just all of that, getting in there and doing it.
Yeah.
How is that? Has it changed your process since you were a kid? Like when you were learning as a kid and improving, is that different than it is now?
As a kid, I didn't try to get better. The only time I tried to get better was my weekly lesson, and that was usually filled with frustration. But outside of a lesson, it was hitting against the garage door and just trying to blast a hole in the door, or like how many times you can hit it in that square that you've set up, drawn on the door.
What were those lessons like? Because I'm curious how it stacks up compared to the Davis's style, the coach that you had. Oh,
man, I had a wonderful coach, Paul Roughton, in Paducah, Kentucky, and we would get out there at about 6:30 on Saturday mornings. It was just when I turned 16, so I would drive there by myself. And he was this old, knees were decrepit. I think he played like lower-level pros. All hunched over, like he was the Yoda for me. He's the Yoda of tennis, and there was a lot of old school technique. I mean, it was low to high, slice serve, two-handed backhand. But I just remember, like, I would always have these epiphanies out there where he'd show me something new, and it would be good for like 5 minutes, and then I would forget how to do it, and it would go back to missing, and I'd get all frustrated at myself and walk off the court or whatever. But no, I appreciate Paul Roughton and the time he spent with me. As a really great thing as a kid.
That's awesome. Matt, what about you? Was that a...
Well, my dad taught me.
What was the improvement style?
Well, it was me and my dad yelling at each other. So he taught me how to play. So we were screaming at each other. Yeah. He'd tell me to hit it. So it's funny.
That doesn't feel...
It doesn't what?
Oh, that doesn't feel very Midwestern.
Yeah, no, he was intense.
To me.
Yeah, it's funny enough. I would try and hit it as hard as I like to hit hard when I was younger, and it wasn't until sophomore, senior, I forget, like my later high school years that I kept the ball in play. But yeah, no, it was mostly yelled at each other. But I was going to ask Stewart that what you were saying makes a lot of sense because you have it's a very compact and straightforward game. Like you're not a lot. I don't think you're a super flashy player. Like you're very compact. You get the ball back. You have very good strokes. Like that kind of makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I've kind of had to forget some of the stuff I've learned and try to pick up the more modern, heavy topspin.
Great game. You don't need that stuff.
The way Stewart, I think, in my mind, one of the defining features of your game is how you can spin it in so many different directions in your serve. You got a good slice serve, you got the flat serve, you got the kick serve. Did you have all three of those, and did you learn all three of those as a youth, or did some of that come along as an adult?
No, I still don't have a kick serve. I correct you there. Fact check.
It's a slick serve then. It's a slice kick combo because you have different varieties of slice. One of which kick slices.
Okay, I'll go with that. Yeah, we'll go with slick.
As a slick serve.
No, I only had the slice. Actually, it was a lot like Matt's serve, except from the right side. Very much of a slider. And then I added the hard stuff when I restarted here as an adult.
This is great. We just added an event to the combine. It's the slice serve off to see who can get the most break. And we're gonna have to wait to do this now until Matt's healthy. Yeah, Stuart, I've seen you drop that toss. Yeah. When Stuart drops the toss, he can take people.
That's what you have to do. You have to have a low toss. Can't be tossing it up here and slicing it.
That's the key. Stuart, you got two sons. Do they play tennis?
Yes, Lincoln and Lewis. It was just out with them today. They're getting better. And they didn't like all the instruction from the parents. They were like you, Matt. Yeah. I could not be their teacher, so we had to get them hooked up with some official lessons with people they would listen to. But now that they're figuring out how to get it back over the net a little more consistently, there's a lot less frustration, and they seem to like it.
How old are they?
That's cool.
8 and 11.
Yeah.
They're going to be beating me in a few years, I'm pretty sure.
When
do you want to? Yeah. When do you think one of them will beat you for the first time?
Yeah, it's not going to be long. I bet you when they're 17.
Yeah.
Oh, Stuart, I got bad news.
6 years.
Oh, it's less than that. It's coming faster than that.
Don't tell me that.
These kids are good. Like they don't pay taxes. They don't have to think about systems of government. All they do is go to school and play sports. Like their capacity for improvement is different than ours. Got I think 5 tops.
Didn't you tell me that I would keep improving until I was 50? It was at 50 you start to go down?
Not only do I believe that you'll keep improving until you're 50, I believe you'll keep improving until you're 60. I just think your kids are going to improve way faster because, again, this is something Coach K said once. I overheard him say once. He's like, these kids don't do anything. All they do is play tennis. They play every day.
That's funny.
We can't keep
Zach,
up with that. It's not even a physical thing. It's a time
When did
thing.
you beat your dad? Your dad plays, right?
Yeah, I think I was 12 or 13, wow. I want to say. So I was a pretty competitive junior, and so at that point I was doing tournaments every couple weekends, mostly traveling around the state, but every now and then would go to South Carolina or Virginia for a tournament if there's a good one. The thing is though, your brain's not done developing. So I think I was a better player than my dad before that, but it took me a while to put it all together because I'd get frustrated or I'd overhit, all the classic stuff that I still do, but extra did as a kid. Do they have defined styles of games yet?
No, we're close to it. It seems like Lincoln likes to play at the net a little bit more than he likes to play at the baseline.
Is it hard as a parent to let the coaches do their things? I know my dad was not my coach like Matt's dad, but certainly he's a good tennis player. He had opinions and ideas and suggestions, and
I will take as many breaks from parenting as I can get. If you ever want to come over, parent the kids for a little bit, it'd be great with me.
We can hear the kids in the background a little bit as you're saying that, so this is perfect timing.
Oh, that's funny.
That's funny.
Stuart, I think you're going to be all right for a little bit. I didn't beat my dad till I was 17, so I think you're about right on that. That's when they're athletic and good enough, and then their brains are developed enough to just overpower you with their athleticism.
Yeah. Yeah, I was late grower.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was 5'3", 5'4" as like a senior in high
Oh,
school. It
really?
wasn't until my first year of college that I shot up. So yeah, so I'm expecting them to be the same way. So I think in maturity level, I think I got them until they're 17.
Yeah.
Do you think if you had been the height you are now when you were like a sophomore, junior in high school, how do you think it would have altered your tennis trajectory?
Oh, that would have been fun. Yeah, it would have definitely been different. I had some stuff go down my senior year that probably would have played out in the same way where I didn't do tennis anymore. But definitely, I would have thought about it more like, is this something I want to do? And as a college thing than I did. I never gave it a second thought.
What's your racket setup? What you got in your bag, Stuart?
I am a Wilson Blade guy, and I'm swinging with a poly setup. I think I'm down. I keep inching down and down and down. I think I'm like 45, 48. I never remember which one comes first. Michael Young, racket stringer extraordinaire.
Strung by Young.
Strung by Young. That's a great slogan.
There you go.
It works also with Trung, who strings rackets. And if they combined them and do Strung by Young and Trung, that would be a really, from branding perspective. Stuart, what else? I was gonna say, Stuart, what else do you have in your bag? Like, everybody's got like Matt and I both like to have chalk in there. What's your go-to thing in your tennis bag?
Good question. I haven't found it yet. For a little bit, I was doing a little candy, like some Skittles.
Oh,
Pop those suckers once in between sets or something. The basics: water, a towel, a changed shirt. That's all I need.
Simple. I like it.
So Stuart, both you and Laura Lee, not only do you play, you both captain. Your sons both play tennis and do other activities. How do y'all balance your athletic pursuits with your kids?
Tennis has been the thing that has allowed us some time for ourselves, I think. We had kids. We were full bore kids, career, family stuff for 10 years. And then she got into tennis, and then that got me into tennis. It's really been a reason to take time out for yourself and do something for yourself. Take care of yourself physically, emotionally, make some friends outside of your regular social crew. So I think we put ourselves first, and that helps us be there for them. But there definitely is, as they get older, they're getting into more and more sports, and it's going to be more and more challenging. I know that our cousins are already doing like traveling basketball teams, and I'm not looking forward to leaving every weekend to babysit kids on a basketball trip, but it could happen.
Yeah.
As a society, why do we do that? Like, is it necessary for kids who are good athletes to travel the amount they do to reach their potential? And like, is it worth it all the time?
Now, if you don't, then you won't get to that level that they all aspire to be at. And they're probably not going to get there anyway. But if you're not training 9 months out of the year, whatever sport you are, you're probably not going to be a D1 athlete anymore.
Yeah, I just
That's
think
so
it's.
crazy.
I have strong opinions on that. I think it's stupid. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like if they want to travel, that's fine. But like, it's just the amount of time I put into sports. Like, it got me. I could have maybe played D3, and I was a dumbass in school. And then I just put like 1 year of effort into school, and now I have a PhD. Like it was just all that effort into tennis. I put so many hours, and I just had to do. I got 1 good year of school in at a community college, and I got into a IU, and then it was from there. I was like, oh, if I actually try hard at this, like I can get the highest degree possible.
Yeah.
I could get a doctorate. Like that's crazy, and all I have to do is try. Like it was insane. So yeah.
One thing that jumps out to me though is like it seems like not only is it hard on the kids, it's hard on the parents, but also you're right, Stuart. You don't want to ask what if. You want to go for it. I think as a kid I enjoyed playing tennis. I enjoyed the traveling. It just feels like the system is like unfairly hard on the whole family. And there's got to be a better way to do it than travel. My opinion here is shaped by a buddy of mine who's got a son who's a travel baseball player, and like, and his daughter's a travel volleyball player, and they're gone every single weekend. It seems like it just seems hard to manage.
Yeah, why are we doing that?
How many people go D1? Like your kid's they're probably not gonna get a scholarship. It's very unlikely. Maybe they will, but it's highly unlikely. They're much more likely to get an academic scholarship. There's way more out there. They're much easier to get.
I think you've got good athleticism in the family. It's a good environment, so I think they very well could get the scholarship. I just think it's hard and sort of unfair to the parents, just the amount of time it takes.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of those kind of pressures on parents these days to be like Instagram parents that do everything for your kids, and I don't really want to do that.
Stewart, you told me about something I think called like the circle of trust, and it has like ever since I heard that is like I'm like, oh, like that makes sense to me. That's what I want to do. Sarah and I have talked about it. Like we're on the same page. Can you tell the audience a little bit about the French parenting philosophy? You sure?
The Triangle Tennis Podcast, Gone Parenting. Yeah. Huh? You're putting me up on a parenting pedestal that I don't belong on. But the circle of trust is, it starts off really, really small when they're toddlers, right? And you have to, put them in a little pen that they can't get out of, or you take them on a leash to the supermarket, and you just don't let them have any freedom. And then as they get older, that circle quietly expands, and you let them start cutting their own steak or whatever the case may be. And then your job as a parent is just to tell them, just to set that boundary and be real clear about what that boundary is or in that circle, and what the punishment is if you go outside it. And beyond that, the kid's going to step a toe out, and you're going to tell them, you can't do that. And they're clear that as they get older, they're going to have these more and more freedoms, and along with that comes more and more responsibility until they're driving. And I don't even want to think about that.
That's cool. I mean, you say like it's not a parenting podcast, but we want people to play tennis in the Triangle. And I think I know there's a few of us who, like me, Mike Westlander, I know like we're just not having kids, but a lot of people do want to have kids, and we want to still play with our buddies. We don't want them to like go away forever. So it's important to hear stuff like that from you, Stewart, and like Mark and other people we have on the pod, so that we can still play tennis with our buddies even when they have kids. For those of us who maybe aren't, I don't want all my buddies to disappear. I know you got other important things to do too, but I don't want to lose all my friends. So this is very important.
Yeah, I hear you.
And also, selfishly, like the Easton Juniors is going to have to become a thing, And so your sons are kind of at the forefront of it. Pretty soon, they'll be eligible for our teams.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I want to see all these kids at Easton.
Yeah. Do you and Laura Lee ever play mixed together?
We do. We fool around. We played with Kevin Mo Young and his wife, and trying to get something on the books with Josh and Katya and Mark and his wife, and Parv and his wife. She's improving. Laura Lee is improving by the day, so I think we can play with some of these people now.
She's got a mean net game. I just remember we were playing at the farm one night, and I just saw her mash volley after volley after volley at a 3-0 match. It was so funny.
Yeah, she takes no prisoners. She went after me today when I was at the net, and she was returning her sister's serve.
So related to this, one of our fact checks from or fact confirmation more than a fact check from the last episode is that mixed has by far the most grievances of any league. It also has the most fights of any league. Have you ever seen that on the court? And like how, if that's happening to your opponents, what do you do on the other side of the net?
Wow, I've never played in a league match with my wife, and so different set of rules for fun tennis versus league tennis. I can't imagine getting into an argument out there.
We've had a couple stories on the pod about people kind of getting into it in those mixed matches, and like I kind of go back and forth in my head, because obviously you don't want somebody else to have a bad time, but if it's a league match and you're trying to win, like what are you gonna do? Like help them resolve their issues or stoke the fire a little bit?
You could do neither. I
mean, like if you want to win, pick it. Like, if somebody's getting on their partner, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're not doing it right. Yeah, keep targeting that person. That's on them.
Oh,
That's their
okay. I
business.
thought you meant like talking to them and like trying to get in their head.
Oh yeah, like wink at them.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
okay, no, don't definitely. That would be a
Yeah,
bridge too
yeah.
far. But you can target the one
yeah.
who's doing a hard
it
time
used
or
to
whatever.
be difficult because now that they've done the level playing, it's much easier because they would put I've said this multiple times, a 4 or 5 guy with 3 or 5 women.
Yeah,
that was never fun. So I think it should.
Wow, that's
I know, wasn't it crazy?
Yeah.
It's crazy, yeah, because it's like, what do you? I think I said this before, but I accidentally pegged a woman. I think I got her in the face, but all I did, this guy just smashed it, and I stuck my racket out like this and went boop, and then it hit her in the face because he was hitting it so hard, and all I did was just take his pace and just go boop.
Yeah.
And I was like, sorry, but your partner's the problem. Like, he smashed it at me. I don't know what to tell you. Blame him.
Matt, it sounds like you kind of you're already doing the thing a little bit there. Yeah, stoking the fire.
I guess I was. Like, I was pissed. Like, I said sorry and everything, but I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Like, he smashed it at me. All I did was block it. Anyways, yeah, I'm glad they fixed that.
Stewart, you've won a couple of tournaments now, and so one of the things that we want to make sure we got into with you is, do you prepare differently for tournament matches than league matches, and how do you sustain that success over the course of a full weekend, which is really tough on the body?
Yeah, I definitely have a different. I don't intend to. It's not like I set out to, but something gets the blood flowing a little bit more about tournaments, and I go into like this zone and all the other stuff, the parenting and the job and even stuff at the site. It doesn't really matter to me anymore. I'm just locked in on that one match in front of me, and yeah, I can maintain that for 3 or 4 matches in a row over a weekend. Physically, it's hard. I just need to. Everybody needs to be more fit. Like I need to be way more fit. I need to be more resilient to injury. I need to, do yoga and get flexible and build muscle and strength training and all that jazz, because the injuries, that's almost derailed me at Chapel Hill. I barely got through my match, and I didn't get through in Greensboro against the great John Hereford when I had my chance to beat him, but I was injured and I could barely walk.
Oh, no.
Man, that was my big prediction for the year, Stewart, is that you're going to be the one to finally break his win streak.
I think you can do it. I
This
think
year.
you can do it.
Would love to have another chance. Would love it.
Is John signed up?
He's not going to. I didn't see him on the sizzle.
Oh.
I didn't see him on there.
Come out to the sizzle.
And somebody else will take the Chapel Hill crown this year, because I forget what I have. I have something that weekend. I'm going to Kentucky for a bourbon and music festival.
Oh, nice.
So.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Who's headlining?
They got the National and My Morning Jacket and Beck. Willie Nelson's going to be there. There's a bunch of people. It's like a 4-day thing.
Oh, that's rad. Also, everyone should try and see Willie Nelson while they can. He's like 94.
Whoa.
He can only be with us for so much longer. The window is closing for Willie. We love Willie. Go see Willie.
What's the best win you've had against a triangle tennis player, and then what's your toughest loss?
Win or lose, my absolute favorite match I've ever played in, the most fun I've ever had on a tennis court, was a month or so ago against Jaron and Jackson in doubles with Ryan Seiko in Wilmington. Everyone was going. I don't think anyone was scared to miss in that match. We were all playing close to the top of our games, and the atmosphere is really what set it apart. Everybody from East End being there, and it was just a lot of fun.
Center court too.
That was like a borderline collegiate level tennis atmosphere that day, because the fans were jumping center court, like Matt said. Also, I think there have been some rain delays. Maybe some people had cracked some brewskis at that point. And were you all playing the format that the tournament organizers suggested people play by in that match? Because it was awfully long.
I think that the covert nature of the competition also added an element of fun to it. we didn't know when the umpires were going to come over to us and ask us the score. We had our own little hand signals for calling the score that was the score but wasn't the scores to keep on the same page. It was a lot of fun.
So I believe this is the infamous match where Matt also had to whip people in the crowd to say, like, hey, like, don't tell anyone the score. Could you tell that was going on around you, or were you too dialed in on the match to notice?
Did not have any idea that there was anyone talking about why is this match taking so long. There were a lot of cheers, and I figured at that point that the tournament organizers wouldn't take that away from all the people that wanted to see the conclusion of that.
Matt, I know you've told the story before on the podcast, but just give folks a quick reminder of what was going on around this match.
Yeah. I think he came around the second set, like when it was clear like the match should have been over.
Who's the he?
The guy in khaki shorts. That's the only way I know how to identify him. He had khaki shorts on. He looked official.
So we think this is a USTA official.
I'm going to assume. I never actually got confirmation. I don't know if someone could fact check me on that one. I'm not sure how, because I have no description of the man other than he had khaki shorts and looked like he was a USTA official of some kind. But yeah, he went around to, I think he started with me and some other people and was like, you know what the score was? And I was like, no, I don't really know. And then I had to go around to everyone and be like, hey, guys, don't tell this guy the score. Don't tell him the score. And he went around in a whole. I don't think you saw him, Stewart, but he went around the whole circle to ask everybody, and I don't think anyone told him. But yeah, so it was fun. That was a great match, center court. It also wasn't supposed to happen. Like I don't know where all the rain. The courts were soaked when I left to go do something else, to go record a podcast, and when I came back there was no water, and I'm not sure where the water went. I'm still trying to figure it out.
The power of positive thinking
yes,
saved the day,
yes.
I believe, was the consensus.
And shout out to Ryan Seiko on that, because I think he was in the same situation the year before, and he played covertly and got in a little trouble for that, and he was still not deterred and wanted to do it again. So that I'm glad he made that decision.
It was rad. I think every single person who was watching, probably even the tournament organizers, who I'm pretty sure knew, were like, well, let's let this one slide. It was such a great match.
Don't see how they couldn't know, really.
Shifting gears, that's the best match.
That was fun.
What was the toughest loss that you've taken to a triangle tennis player?
The one that sticks out for me. I mean, I've had a lot of losses that hurt, but my first year back was playing on your team, Zach. Chris Mansfield captaining a 4-0 team. Thirds of this way through the season, maybe about halfway, we played Jermaine's team. I think both teams were tied at the top of the standings. All the other courts were off. It was me and Ryan Seiko playing doubles against Spencer and somebody. And it was close. I can't remember if this happened in the third set tiebreaker or the second set tiebreaker, but I missed an overhead, and my game kind of fell apart really after that. Because of the team concept, man, and coming off the court, loser in that, and that being the deciding match that night, that really affected me. Like, I had trouble moving on past that one. Team matches are a whole different thing when you think people are depending upon you to do a certain thing, and you don't do it.
I find I'm starting to feel that kind of maybe pressure, but also kind of like extra desire to win in tournament matches when there's a big East End contingent or a big triangle contingent, because it's like, it might not even be a team atmosphere, but if you got a bunch of your buds cheering, it kind of feels like it is sometimes, like Wilmington, I think it was a good example of that, where we weren't on a team, we're there as individuals, but it felt like we were on a team.
Yeah. So my relationship with tennis has, I think, improved since then. So hopefully matches don't get to me as much as that one did.
Yeah. So according to Tennis Record, and I looked this up today, and so people can feel free to fact check me, but this is all factually correct. You are the highest rated male Bible in the country. How does it feel to be the consensus best Bible?
Wait, male? So there's a better female Bible.
There's
this
Phyllis
is news.
Bible in South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
But she's a 4.5C.
Do you have her information? I might.
I don't, but maybe she's a listener. Maybe somebody who knows her is, and maybe we could have a battle of the Bibles in the Carolinas.
That's funny because my friend growing up, my best friend growing up, his mom was named Phyllis, and his dad would always say, "God blessed Phyllis," when something went wrong or something like that. And so we always had a good time, all of us saying, "God blessed Phyllis," and I still do that to this day when I mess something up.
If you play Phyllis Bible and you miss a shot, will you say God bless it?
I will. And then we'll bring up the fact that our name ends with Bible.
Nice.
Oh, man. That would be a fun match to make happen.
What do you think her game is?
Let's see. What do we think Phyllis's Bible's game is? I think she probably gets a lot of lines, a lot of favorable bounces, if I had to guess.
It's no joke.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to play her, but I'll look her up anyway.
Yeah. Maybe she's this is the furthest we've ever gotten an episode without talking about.
Do we need to plug Swing Vision?
I don't know. I think you know what? Let's plug a specific thing within Swing Vision. We need people to send us 16 by 9 or 9 by 16, which one is it, Matt? There's a specific.
I'm not on
format we need the
Instagram. I
clips
don't know.
in.
What are you going to do with these clips?
So we've got now, and Daniel Marchek, the director of marketing for TTP, has been doing like daily posts on Instagram, and a couple of them have gotten now like several thousand views. It's really cool.
Oh, wow.
And so we're asking for folks to send us clips of them playing. Swing Vision makes that very easy, so we can then post them on our Instagram channel. You know, if it's a funny one, so like Lefty Mark sent us one that was not a highlight, perhaps a low light, where he was playing on a wet court, and the toss goes up, and he just goes down like a pile of bricks. And then, you know, we wanted to then contrast that with him hitting a pretty mean ace up the middle. So, you know, whether it's funny, whether it's a highlight, we're looking for stuff to post on our Instagram feed. Daniel's doing an awesome job at that. We're excited to be getting him back in the triangle, but we're also excited to see the content that he's cooking up, and we need folks to submit stuff.
That's cool. Mark's fall was not funny. I was on the court with him. I was a little concerned for his safety when he went down that day. He went down like a pile of rocks. Yeah. It was rough.
Did he pop back up? Or
he
was
did. No, he was
okay.
back up in a split second.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I feel like as soon as I learned that he was a wrestler, I wasn't on the course when that happened. I saw that clip after. I was like, oh, he'll be fine. But yeah, if it was me, you, or Matt, like check in on us. I don't know.
Oh, God.
So Stewart, you touched on this a couple times, but it sounds like your mindset has really changed on the courts over the last couple years, and I would love to hear kind of where you started, where you've ended up, and how you got there.
Yeah, that's complicated, but I think it goes to why we all play this game. I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons that I started playing and I continue to play as this rainbow or spectrum of things. And I think at the beginning it was much too on one side of I'm doing this to be a certain level of goodness, to prove to myself that I can, or to prove to others that I can. And then over time it has swung at times to having fun, and other times it's to be healthy. And I think now I'm getting to the point where it's all of those things. And I'm just along for the ride. It's what I'm doing to, I guess, grow as a person and be doing something that I otherwise wouldn't be doing, having this life experience of coming on the TTP, the greatest tennis podcast in the Triangle. Yeah. Things I wouldn't have the chance to do without tennis. That's how my mindset has changed. It's more of hopefully a place of gratitude and less concerned with winning or losing or even getting to be a good 4-0 or a good 4-5 or all that other nonsense that we spend a lot of time talking about.
I think a lot of hobbies can be pretty unhealthy. And it's cool that tennis can be such a healthy one. Certainly at times for me it has been an unhealthy hobby, but it's been really cool to see, sort of, Stewart, how you've how you've approached it in a way that's like it's fun for you, but also seems good for you, and I think it encourages the people around you to take a similar approach, because sometimes we all need to take a deep breath from the courts.
Yeah,
it's hard.
I've had to reset that with being hurt for so long. I haven't played a real match since January, so I can't go out there and be the same guy anymore. But I got to get out there and have fun and get the exercise, and so yeah, it's that reset and that mindset of like, I'm not a 4-5 right now, and I got to deal with that, and I still want to play. So that was good, Stewart. Appreciate it.
Let's talk about that for a second, Matt. I think a lot of guys deal with injuries, whether they either play with their offhand or their serve isn't what they'd like it to be, or they can't move as well as they could. How have you kind of moved forward through that? Because that's hard.
Yeah, I was sad at first, and now I've just kind of accepted that. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna play left-handed again. I'm not even worrying about it. I'm just gonna. I've got Aman, who's one of our guys in our crew. He's taking care of me and doing everything he can. So now it's in his hands, and I'm just gonna do what he tells me. And otherwise, I'm gonna keep playing right-handed. And once you get out there and you start playing and you start getting better, it's fun. I'm meeting new guys. I met the guy. I've been on this another plug. The Rivals tennis ladder it's like the one that Max and I run, but the actual like computer programmers who know how to put together an app, and it doesn't break like every 3 days like mine does, because I'm not good at that, because that breaks all the time. So it's a really good app. I think I forget how much. I think even my first couple ladders are free, but I've been meeting a lot of 3-0s there. I play in the Durham and Raleigh one, and just getting out there and meeting new guys, and just getting out there and hitting. And I've been doing a lot of coaching as well. So, or I guess I show up to. I know Zach. I'm at a lot of matches, so I get to hang out and watch you guys and do all my captaining stuff. So just staying involved, and like Stewart said, just not. It really puts, I was worried about winning at 4-5 when I was there, and I didn't want to get bumped down. And that's not even I'm not even thinking about that anymore. I'm just trying to get hits. I'm just trying to get hits and get out there with people.
Right on.
Yeah.
So Stewart, you are a prominent member of a prominent group, the East End Boys, the group that Matt and I are a part of, that has brought a lot of fun and enrichment to our lives. How did you find your way to the East End Boys?
Yeah, lucky. Joined the farm tennis and swim club a couple of summers ago, and hanging out at the pool. Laura Lee started playing tennis. I said, that looks fun. I remember when that was fun. So took a couple of lessons, and then they said, all right, we got these other guys here at the farm, Arun and Awan, and they hooked me up, started hitting with those guys, and all of a sudden Arun and a couple other guys were putting together a 4-0 team, so I joined that and got my ass kicked a couple of times, first by Chris Mansfield and then by Mike Westlander. And then at the end of my match with Mike Westlander, he says, where are you from? I say, Durham. He says, we play over in Durham on Saturday mornings. Maybe you should join us. I said, I'd love to. And so he gave me his number. He made that mistake. And so I texted him like I think 3 or 4 times, hey, when's that Saturday thing? Hey, can I come to that Saturday thing? And he finally said, well, we got this other text message, but it's on iPhone, and I'm an Android.
This is a big thing.
So Mike was my sole contact for a while. Every time I wanted to get on Saturday action, I would have to text Michael and say, is it okay if I come? And at first, there was a little bit of like, I don't know all these guys, and they got their own thing coming in here. Should I be intimidated? I'm the oldest guy here, obviously, so I'm at a huge disadvantage, and I'm just starting tennis. But I stuck it out. Luckily, you guys are fairly nice people, and you didn't say hurtful, mean things to me when I was just starting out. So it kept me involved just enough that I was able to keep going with tennis, and I'll be forever grateful to the East End Boys.
So
it is funny that Mike Westlander is a point of contact, because he's a famously not fast texter. Like everyone, like Mike Westlander is a great guy, a very good tennis player, and a below average texter for sure. And no one can be perfect.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's all right. There's nothing wrong with it. It's good to have a healthy relationship with your phone. But that is. I did not know that, Stewart.
Yes. You're the reason the East End group me started, I believe. You were one of the main reasons that they started that, so you could be involved. And I made the mistake one time when that started in the text chat, because I have an iPhone. I made the mistake of like, hey, why don't we just have the group me chat? And I got lit the fuck up. It was wild. It was wild. I remember Zach texting me on the side. He's like, dude, that was a mistake. And I was like, I don't know. I just thought maybe one chat would be okay, but no, it was completely. I just got destroyed.
Well,
it was funny.
So initially, before it was the Easton Boys were the premier Triangle Area tennis group, we were the premier Triangle Area iPhone only tennis group, and that was like. It wasn't that it was a core part of the identity. It's just that awful Android color green is so bad. And sorry guys. And that iPhone text it works, like it's easy, but there's also a cap at I think 32 or 33 people on it. And so yeah, that's true. Like we wanted Stewart in the mix. At that point, you were a regular. It didn't feel right to not have you part of the chat. And also, I think we at that point we kind of put together. There was momentum for more than 32 people to be, regular, semi-regular.
I think that's more of what happened.
Not what Zach told me.
Curiosity to get Stewart involved. No, I was showing up, no matter if I was on the fucking text chain. Oh, I don't know if this is cursing or not.
I'm pretty sure I have a text.
It's all right. You can curse
from
here.
Zach saying Stewart's the reason we did this. I remember
Yeah.
Stewart was. I'll say one of the main. I'll give you one of the reasons. I'm sure it was because the group was growing, but you were a main reason as well.
A core contributor to the
Android holdout.
Yep.
GroupMe's pretty good for a tennis group thread. It's anything is better than Slack, which
Slack
just sucks and also costs money. Some people use WhatsApp. Are y'all in any WhatsApp based tennis group messages?
Nope. I was once on one. Gotten rid of it since then.
GroupMe's fine. It does the job. I'm not going to say it's great, but it gets the job done. I don't have any complaints.
It's serviceable. I do find if I get like more than 5 messages behind in the GroupMe, it's gone. It's in the wind. Whereas like for the text message thread, I was a little bit more diligent about reading those. I don't know, something about a text message.
I don't know. I think
is that a me thing?
Because you can scroll the same.
Well, hey.
Scrolling's the same. You just use your thumb to scroll.
It feels less. I don't know. It feels less essential to read in a GroupMe to me than a text message. Stuart, is this a me thing or is there some truth to it?
I think there's some truth. I think there's some truth to it. I like the fact that when people get involved in the conversations, like it seems to be pretty quick at responding to this person said this, and now you got a response over here, and you got this back and forth conversation going on. That GroupMe is good at that.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy an active group chatter, especially when it veers into non-tennis territory,
yes,
or
absolutely.
or non like, do you want to play tennis today? Because I think that's part of community building. I also recognize though not everybody loves that, and to those people I say mute it, get over it, mute it.
I agree. I have most of my chats muted. I check them when I want.
Same.
You have most of your chats muted? That's surprising to me. Stuart, are you on mute or are you checking the group chat as they come in?
I've
got several on mute, but I do check them.
I check them regularly. They're just on mute.
Yeah. I never mute the Church of East End. I mute a few of the other ones. The Church of East End, which is the main GroupMe chat, there's just too much good stuff happening in there for me to miss it. And I get FOMO a little bit if I don't check it from time to time.
Just going back to the East End boys, what impact has that had on you and your game and, and how much you play?
I don't think I would be a tennis player without the East End boys. Literally all of my improvement has been because of taking part in that group. Saturday mornings led to one thing, led to another thing. Made some great friends, too.
Yeah. Stuart, are you, because I don't get there early, are you an early morning East Ender or a mid-morning?
I love the early mornings. I could get there at 6 if the weather was permitting. Yeah, get there before the kids wake up, before the wife needs me to do things. I got all day to do other stuff. But I would like to play, I don't know, in the afternoon, in the morning and afternoon sometimes. I just love being out there.
What would you like to see in the future besides, obviously, an East End draft?
Public clay courts, I believe, is what I'm supposed to say.
Let's go! Did I mention they have those in Montreal, the place that I just came from, as well as Wilmington, Greensboro, and Asheville, the 3 cities in our state? Okay, just want to make sure. Can we talk about public clay courts for a second?
Go ahead.
Is it actually crazy to demand a little bit more of our municipal government to say, hey, Durham is a great city, and we believe that it deserves great facilities? Is that such a silly ask?
Absolutely
There's a ballot
not.
initiative this fall, $95 million on it going to public parks. And, I don't want to get political beyond anything other than municipal government. But, like, we have got to get the entire community to vote for these bonds, because even if you don't use the public parks to play, you play against people who do. And if you want to have more fun playing tennis, then you want to have more people who are good in your area. And this is an essential step in having a healthier community, both on and off the court. So, sorry for my like shameless plugs of public clay courts, but I'm just going to keep saying it until it happens.
So how do we do that? How do we get more vocal?
Yeah, so there's actually some really great resources on the USTA website about how to advocate to it for your local and or municipal government. We're having Chris Moffitt on the podcast, who's heavily involved with the local tennis governing body, and we're going to ask him that same question because I don't know the answer. I think it's a long and complicated answer to get anything built in any city in America right now. But I believe that there's enough people and enough of people that would use the courts that we could get some momentum and figure this out together.
Zach?
Yeah, I'm playing in my first carry league. I saw you there a couple of weeks ago, Matt.
Yeah.
And just the level of their facilities that I'm seeing compared to what's in Durham is it's another world that I didn't know existed. And I don't see why. I don't see the real difference between the municipalities and how one should have A+ rated facilities and the other have D- rated facilities.
The biggest difference, I think, is not just the courts, but the bathrooms. The bathrooms at Elmira are terrifying. It's like out of a horror film. There is a brown hand mark in one of the toilets, and it's been there for a long time. Nobody knows what it is. The toilet.
Nobody knows what it is? Yes, they do. They just don't want to say.
I mean, it's been there for months. It can't be poop. But the toilets are always overflown. It's like a horror show in there. You go into Cary, and they have like automatic, like electric locks on the bathrooms. Like everything's perfect and clean, air conditioned. It's insane. But
one of the first times I went to Easton, I went in to use those bathrooms early morning, and there was a gentleman in there sleeping.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel good. I didn't like it was not a good experience and we've had some run-ins over there, and it's just like I don't know what we can do other than I think if you take care of your places a little bit more, invest in them a little bit more, you won't have as many problems.
Yeah. I will also say when the bathrooms are unavailable in a public park, people then go piss in the woods. You are not supposed to do that at a public park. There are meaningful consequences that somebody can face for taking a piss in the woods at a public park. And so not only is it like hey, I'd like to, not have somebody sleeping in the public court bathroom when I'm trying to use the public court bathroom. It's like they're creating a bad situation for everybody.
Zach, I want to play a new game next time. I meant to tell you about this. So I want to give you a random topic, and I want to see how long it takes you to get that to public clay courts in Durham.
Give me, what? I'll do it on the spot. Give me a topic and let's do it. Stewart or Matt, both either guys.
Let's see. Fly swatters.
Fly swatters. It is hot right now, but it's bug season. They're everywhere. And I think most notably, they are in wooded areas, which many public parks are. And I think that there is likely quite a bit of data that shows there are fewer insects on clay courts than there are on hard courts. It is deeply important to me personally that we be free of the scourge of these insects. And that's why it's important that Durham builds public clay facilities. That's a tough one.
Well, you
that's
did a good job.
One to get the
data part, that one. But I think you did that was pretty good. I mean, this was a random thing I picked up. So for folks at home, I picked this up off my desk, and he did a good job.
I feel destined to be fact check on that data, and I don't care. My gut tells me that was
that's
right.
all that. This is about guts. Yeah.
You can't fact check gut.
We got to
to
train this skill, Zach.
Yeah.
We got to practice.
Oh, for the getting to public clay or trusting the gut?
Getting to public clay. You may be put on the spot in front of a large audience at some point, being asked these same questions.
There is nothing I would rather talk to a large audience about than my passion for public clay courts. I think it's outrageous. It's ridiculous. Anyway, yeah. With that, we are running out of time. Stewart, you're at the beach with the family. Want to close with our forever question: what does tennis mean to you?
Right now, I think it is continuing to mean. It's very important to me. I think it is my vessel for emotional and physical well-being. It forces me to reckon with how I feel about myself, where I am in the world, and be at peace with all that. And it's the only thing that's ever forced me to look internal to myself. Like everything else in life, if I struggle with it, I just drop it or move on to something different. For some reason, I couldn't do that with tennis. I had to master myself and get past whatever I was trying to get past, and then it's grown into this other overall thing that's like, the more I do this, the healthier I am in a lot of different ways. So I guess that means it's pretty important.
I think
That's a great
so.
answer.
Well, Stewart, thank you so much for joining us today. As always, this is the Triangle Tennis Podcast. Thanks for listening. We're on Spotify and follow us on Instagram.
Cheers.